Hi, my name is Sydney, and probably nobody's gonna watch this, but I don't care. So I'm just going to show you guys like a couple books that I'm reading in the moment. So I'm gonna start off with this things that I've been writing down. So I carry a pocket notebook. I sometimes occasionally use this, but for the most part, I use this to jot down ideas, to learn, and do all that. So in this, and ignore my nails. I got bored and so I painted them. But anyway, so I was very interested in Latin music. I love Latin culture, like specifically around colors, music, and the language. I'm currently learning Spanish as well. I've been learning that for about a year. So, Latin music, I was like looking at some of the music that I was listening to, and I've noticed that a lot of the music I like is mambo, boogaloo, cha-cha, and it made me realize that most of that stems from Afro-Cuban music, Afro-Puerto Rican music, and a little bit over to Colombian music as well, and it's influenced by jazz. And I was looking at some of the artists, and something that stood out to me was ragtime. I was like, oh, this is very interesting. Um, and I was like, and then I was thinking about meditation and how it heals the body and just the benefits from incorporating that practice within your daily life. And I wrote down, I was like, is there a correlation to thinking and imagination? And I feel like imagination is an immersive experience, whereas thinking is just like, you just think it. Most of the time, you're just probably thinking, like, we all have thoughts during the day. So I was like, there's that type of thinking, and then there's intentional uh, imagination. And then I was thinking about how do you let go? Like, what is the concept of letting go of something? And it could be energetically and just accepting. It could be acceptance and, like, hey, this is how my life looks. Like, for example, I don't really like my current location. I've hated living in Delaware basically all my life. Um, I've always associated myself. There was a time where I would say I'm from Philly, and it's really because I am very close to the borderline of PA, and I live really close to Philly. So I would be like, I'm from Philly, because a lot of people did not know. Like, no one knows where Delaware is, and Delaware is in the hot spot of the mid-Atlantic. They have New Jersey, Maryland, um, New York, Philly, and we have literally nothing. So we're like in between that, and no one really considers that. So I was looking at that. And then I was like, how do you know when you're actually understanding Dr. Joe Dispenza? I think that's how you say his last name. How do you incorporate that? And how do you really know how, what he means by space? I think space is kind of like confusing. He like wants you to focus on certain points of your body and fill the space. Like, there's like, right now I'm sitting and there's like space around me, but like we don't intentionally look at that. So that was like one of the things I was looking at, and then I wrote some other notes down. I was like, how does meditation heal the body? Does intentional music listening help the brain? I was curious. I was like, what do I need to know right now, heading into 24? I just turned 24 a month ago, so I was like, and then I try not to put too much pressure on myself. I was like, 24 is the age where you just want to learn and absorb as much information as possible. I don't think you should expect yourself to, like, boom, make six figures and all that, but I look at my job and I'm like, I'm both graceful and I'm both tired. It's like, I'm grateful that I'm not unemployed, that I have a form of income, that I have a job that I can actually grow. and, you know, in the future, branch somewhere else, maybe with the company, maybe with another university. I do prefer to be at a university, mainly a 4 year, because there's a lot of courses I can take, but I could also take at the location map. Almost disclosed the location. So anyway, so and then I was thinking about trees. I was thinking about shoot, what was I thinking about? I was thinking about we don't see wind, but we can feel wind. And I was like, oh, trees let us know that we can see the wind, but it's like I felt trees. I'm like, what are we hearing? Like, we hear sounds with the wind, and so I was like, Cause, and then I was thinking about it when I blow. I was like, you know, I'm like, damn, how's it? How are we doing that? So what I do in my development, I always stop by a mini library. So when I do that stuff, I look at what books they have. There's this one book I want to actually get back to reading. It was it's a fashion book. It was the author. The author wrote Sex and the City, and the book just vividly it's so good. But the audiobook on Spotify is really bad, so I gave up. Espanol. I'll read you an example. So they'll be like, what would you say? I live in an apartment in New York. I would say vivo en apartamento en Nueva York. Entiendo el lección muy bien. Aprendo mucho en la clase. Leo, ¿qué say that? Leo. And they'd be like, so one thing I don't like about the book, everything is either we, you, but you is present. Not present. They use a formal way of saying you. They don't use informal. You know, you need to know histe, haste in Espanol. It's more common, right? That's what they use. But with them, they're like, we're not doing that. This is my creative book. I jot down things. I do a joy list. Yes. As crazy as I can be, I feel deep. It's like every time I interact with a person, I love just making them laugh. I can't help it. Every time I come out of an interaction, I always make people laugh. Sometimes I interact with people, I'm like, do you want to be friends after this? I told this one girl I was going to call her, and I didn't have the time. If only she knew. Because, you know, I have her Instagram. I was like, girlfriend, let me know how the pregnancy. I might even just text her on Instagram, like, let me know how the baby is. Is the baby safe? Whatever. I have a book from Dr. Dispenza. I did not read this yet. Because, honestly, I need to read it today. So, I'm going to read the back of this book. I like reading, so I'll read it. So, this is the description of the book. You're not doomed by your genes and hardwired to be a certain way for the rest of your life. A new science is emerging that empowers all human beings to create the reality they choose. In breaking the habit of being yourself, renowned author, speaker, researcher, and cryopractor. I can't believe I can't say that word. Dr. Joe Dispenza combines the fields of quantum physics, neuroscience, brain chemistry, biology, and genetics to show you what is truly possible. Not only will you be given the necessary knowledge to change any aspect of yourself, but you will be taught the step-by-step tools to apply what you learn in order to make measurable changes in any area of your life. Dr. Joe demystifies, ancient understandings and bridges the gap between science and spirituality. Through his power workshops and lectures, thousands of people in 24 different countries have used these principles to change from the inside out. Once you break the habit of being yourself and truly change your mind, your life will never be the same. So, he's a really cool dude. I'm not gonna hold you. Here's a nice picture of him. So, I have another book of him. This book is, I ain't gonna lie, I see why people promote the book in the comments, because I'm like, whoa, this book is deep. I'm on page 100. I stopped reading because look what happened to the book. It looks ugly. I accidentally freaking ruined the book, and it made me not read the book anymore. I have 200 pages left to read. But that is my life right now. Every day I get comments and they'll be like, you don't look 24. And I sit back and I'm like, I cannot wait until you guys are my age. And then they'll realize, wow, I'm not really old. Because I'm not really old. Like, I live with my parents. I have no kids. I'm not married. So I'm like... But I said the canon event is when you enter your 20s, you have at least one long-term relationship. I'm one of them. And I sit back and I'm like, as attached as I can be to people, I'm not attached to that outcome. But maybe because I preoccupied myself. Just preoccupy yourself, guys. You'll be good. So yep, this is my books. I currently do not have a phone. I might read something in Spanish to show you. I was gonna say something very TMI and I stopped myself perfectly. So, you have these two words. So, I give you a hint of this book. Oh yeah, I stopped reading this book because every time I dirtify a book, I don't want to read it because it makes me... But it's like the inside of the book is good. Oh, that's cool. So, I might not be able to read this. Correr. I don't know how to roll my R's because, you know, I grew up in America. JK. That is not... Oh, wait, I'm trying to think. Oh my gosh, I'm like nervous when I read Spanish. So we have... Well, I have to like... I go on Pemser a lot. I'm on Lexin. I'm in level 3 and I'm on lesson 18. I'm gonna go on the website and read it. So I'm gonna do it. El doctor, el tractor, el motor, el calor, el animal, el mental, la universidad, la ciudad, la nación. They give you little exercises to work on. They're like, la casa la semana pasada, esta mañana, esta tarde, esta noche en Colombia y México y la tienda. Escribo usted. It's like a usted, pero nobody says that, Natty. I'll tell you, when I was in Panama, nobody used formal. No one was formatted. They would say, so you know, it's in this book, they'd be like, escribe usted. No one ever freaking used usted. They would say, escribes. Because I'm like thinking to myself, when I talk to someone I don't know, I talk very informal. Because it's all about comfort. You make it so uncomfortable. It's a annoying process, right? Um, but when I talk with like older women, I try to be formal, but I don't call her miss, ma'am. They will call me ma'am, and I hate it. And then someone's like, oh my gosh, this lady was mad at me because I called her senora. And now I'm like, honestly, if I spoke, if Spanish is my first language and someone say senora, I'm like, and it's like, why can't you call me miss? Like, miss, I don't, but maybe miss sounds dismissive. Kind of like in Espanol, it's like saying señorita. That sounds really sexual. It doesn't even freaking sound like when I remember I was watching Squid Game, one of the players said, they said, señorita. It sounds really like sexual, but he used the right he used the right word for her because she's a young woman, and so that's what happened. So anyway, y'all, I am bored. I'm hungry. I'm gonna post this and not give a heck. Wait, look, see my face. I'm done with this.